Hey there, Shanna here. Welcome back to my channel, all about finding joy while learning to live well with autoimmune disease. So glad to have you here. So today I am going to update you on my Hashimoto's journey. So I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease about over 3 years ago, after over a decade of struggling with undiagnosed health challenges. And so I'm not going to go over all of my original Hashimoto story, but I have shared it in a video, so if you're interested, I will link that down below and you can take a look at that. And I've also done like an update once before as well, so I'll link that as well. I'm just gonna kind of talk about where I am now over 3 years after my diagnosis. And so let's see, I'll go over where I'm at as far as like flares go, how often I have them, and how bad they get compared to the beginning. And then I'm going to go over my battle with exercise intolerance and kind of where I'm at now. I'll go over where I'm at as far as my eating and where I'm at as far as my weight. Maybe not in that order. All right, so first of all, where I'm at as far as flares. So if I had filmed this a couple months ago, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I haven't had a flare in months and months and months. And I'm feeling better than I ever have. But I have just gone through a few months of a lot of stress, a lot of changes in my personal life, and so I have had a flare recently. I'm still recovering from it. If you follow me on social media, I've shared a lot about it on Instagram and a lot about flares. And so I would say that as compared to so when I was diagnosed, I felt like I was in a constant state of flare for a long time, and I was at my rock bottom. And then as I started my wellness journey, as I started to change the way I ate and the way I think and the way I live, my health improved and improved. But one of the most frustrating parts is that there were so many ups and downs, and you know, like one day I'd think, oh, I've got all this energy, and the next day I'd be like in bed again, and it was so frustrating. And so for me, part of learning to live well with Hashimoto's was learning how to manage my energy, especially early on, realizing to prioritize rest, to make time for rest. And it was also a big part of my journey is also not being afraid to try new things again. So I got to a point where I was feeling so much better, which is amazing, and I'm so grateful for. And I could have just stayed at that activity level and stayed at where I was at that point. But I wanted to add things back into, you know, my life, like more traveling and movement and doing things with my family. And so that took time to add back in, and it wasn't overnight. And so I just want to encourage you to love yourself through this process, to be patient with yourself, and to understand that there's going to be ups and downs. And also, I've learned that what warning signs my body gives me when I start doing too much or when I start pushing things too far. And I notice, oh, hold up, wait 1 minute, like my body's warning me. That means I need to up my hydration, make sure, like if my hydration's gotten off, or I need to make sure my sleep's on point, or I need to up, you know, certain like, you know, macronutrient, like maybe I'm not eating enough healthy fats as I usually do, or maybe I'm really stressed and I need to get my stress under control. Maybe I did too much, you know, physically. And so part of it is learning to listen to your own body. Yes, it's awesome that there's so many of us sharing our stories now and speaking up and saying, this is what Hashimoto's looks like, and it's invisible, but this is what it feels like, and you're not alone. So let's talk my weight. So my body was holding on to some stubborn weight for years before my diagnosis, and in the months preceding my diagnosis, I couldn't do the intense workouts anymore. I struggled just to get out of bed, and so I was really scared to stop working out because I couldn't lose weight. I mean, it was just an extra like 10 pounds of stubborn weight, but I was afraid that that extra 10 pounds was going to turn into 20 or 30 or 40 really fast, because I just couldn't physically keep up with my life anymore, let alone work out intensely. And so what I learned through that process is that I truly care more about how I feel rather than the number on the scale. And so from that point on, I stopped weighing myself. So, and ironically, changing the way I ate and the way I live and my stress and working on my healing journey, even though I wasn't exercising as intensely, that stubborn weight came off, which felt so much better on my body too. So I have a Hashimoto's and weight loss video that I'll link if you're interested in more about my weight loss story. But as far as the update on my weight, I would say over the past year, so my weight after losing it stayed stable. And then after, it's been a crazy year, and with everything that happened, I turned a little bit back to stress eating, and I was having my favorite cassava chips every day, and my favorite dark chocolate every day, and my favorite AIP ice cream a lot. And I just gradually put back on some weight, and I don't weigh myself, so I don't know how much weight. I would guess like 5 pounds, I would guess. I don't know. I did get weighed at a doctor's appointment recently, and I just didn't ask what it said, and I didn't look, because I went years and years and years of weighing myself every day and every week. And if it was up by a couple pounds, it would affect me emotionally that day. How lame is that? I know, but that's how I was. And I determined that scale was robbing my freaking joy. It was like, enough, enough. The only thing to be aware of, and that I'm aware of, is if it's unexplained weight gain, that could mean that my thyroid's off again. I do go in for labs every year. In the beginning of my Hashimoto's journey, it was a lot more often, but since I've been good, my functional medical doctor just has me doing it every year, so I go back in for labs here soon. But when I had them done a year ago, my levels were good. My antibodies were coming down still. And so we'll see how my labs are in a couple of weeks with all the stress and everything, but I'm not expecting anything huge. So anyways, that's the update with my weight. Let me know if you have any questions on that. And then as far as my battle with exercise intolerance, I am going to film a whole other video about that in the coming weeks or months, because that is a changing situation. I battled it for, oh my gosh, it's been over 3 years now, and I've gradually gotten a lot of activity back in my life, and like walking and snowboarding and yoga. Well, yoga was a new one for me, and I can do a lot, and I'm so grateful. But strength training was always something that I loved doing before my rock bottom, and I've struggled when I start doing it again. I get my symptoms back, or I I feel really awful. And I recently, within the past few weeks, found somebody who I think is going to be a game changer. So far, it's been amazing. And I'll share more about that once I'm only like 3 weeks in, but I'm seeing progress. The first week was a little bit rough, but we are like fine tuning and adjusting and seeing patterns and like making adjustments. And so I'll share more about that once I have more experience with that, and once I have more information to share. But I'm really excited about that. So that's my update with exercise intolerances. I am further along than I have been in years, and I'm really excited about it. All right, and then just a Hashimoto's update as far as the way I eat. So I found a lot of relief through the autoimmune protocol. There's an elimination phase, a reintroduction phase, and a maintenance phase. So the elimination phase is not meant to be long term, and so I have a lot of re-intros now. Okay, so there's a re-intro video that I have coming your way next week, where I talk about what re-intros I've been able to reintroduce, because I get that question a lot. So, but yes, I love eating unprocessed foods, nutrient-dense foods, and the way that I eat to help me feel my best may look a bit differently than how you eat, and that's a beautiful thing. Again, just learning to listen to our bodies and to figure out what helps us to live our best lives. All right, so that is it. That is my Hashimoto's update. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Let me know if you have any questions like for my husband or my kids too, from like their perspective. I know that they're always willing to answer any questions from like their perspective, so just drop any questions in the comments and I can always film a follow-up video for you. All right, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please let me know in the comments a little bit about your Hashimoto story. I would love to hear. I know that Hashimoto's is so difficult, and I know that there's a way to learn and to grow and to become a better person through it. I believe that God allowed me to have this experience so that I can learn and grow and become a better instrument in His hands. I'm not grateful for Hashimoto's, I'm not, but I'm grateful for the lessons I've learned through it and for the woman I've become through it. I'm not always positive. I'm not always you know, grateful for all of the hard lessons, but I rely on my faith and I try to just take things one day at a time and realize that there's ups and downs, and when those downs come, I can get through it, and I know that you can get through it too. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's hard. It's frustrating to live and to work so hard on things just so that I can live a normal life, you know, just so I can do normal things. So if you feel that way, my heart is with you. Sending you lots of love and support, and I will see you in my next video.